Part 1. What if I told you that your daily diet soda, sugar-free yogurt, or that zero-calorie energy drink you rely on could be aging your brain by over a year and a half? What if the very products marketed as healthy alternatives are actually harming your mind in ways you never imagined? Welcome to the hidden cost of sweet. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into groundbreaking research that's sending shockwaves through the health and nutrition world. Before we begin this eye-opening journey together, I want to ask you a favor. If you find today's content valuable, and I promise you will, please hit that subscribe button and share this episode with someone you care about. Your support helps us bring you more life-changing health insights like these. Now, let me paint you a picture. You're standing in the grocery store, reaching for that diet soda because you're trying to be health conscious. You've been told it's better than regular soda, right? No calories, no sugar spikes, just sweet satisfaction without the guilt. But what if that innocent choice is actually fast-tracking cognitive decline in your brain? Recent research published in the prestigious American medical journal Neurology has uncovered something that should make every health-conscious person pause and reconsider. Scientists followed over 12,000 people for 8 years and discovered that those consuming the most artificial sweeteners experienced a 62% faster decline in their thinking and memory skills. That's equivalent to aging their brains by 1.6 additional years. Think about that for a moment. Every time you choose that artificially sweetened product, you might be trading short-term satisfaction for long-term cognitive health. This isn't just about feeling a little foggy. We're talking about measurable changes in memory, verbal fluency, and overall brain function. The implications are staggering. In our quest to avoid sugar and maintain our waistlines, millions of us have unknowingly embraced products that could be compromising our most precious asset, our minds. The very sweeteners found in everyday products like yogurts, flavored waters, low-calorie desserts, and energy drinks are now under scrutiny for their potential to cause what researchers call long-term harm to our cognitive abilities. This research comes from the University of Sao Paulo, where Dr. Claudia Kimi-Suemoto and her team conducted one of the most comprehensive studies on sweeteners and brain health to date. They didn't just look at 1 or 2 sweeteners. They examined 7 different types, including aspartame, saccharin, acetylphenol K, erythritol, sorbitol, and xylitol. These are names you'll recognize from ingredient lists on countless products lining our supermarket shelves. What makes this study particularly compelling is its scale and methodology. With 12,772 participants, all civil servants in Brazil with an average age of 52, this wasn't a small, limited study. These were real people living real lives, and researchers tracked their dietary habits and cognitive performance over an average of 8 years. The participants completed detailed questionnaires about their food and drink intake, then underwent rigorous cognitive testing, measuring verbal fluency, word recall, and other critical thinking skills. The results were clear and concerning. Those who consumed the highest amounts of these sweeteners saw their cognitive abilities decline at an alarming rate compared to those with the lowest intake. But here's what's particularly interesting. This accelerated decline was primarily observed in participants under 60 years old. This means middle-aged adults, people in their prime working years, are the most vulnerable to these effects.
Part 2. The science behind the sweetness. Let's dive deeper into what these findings actually mean and why they matter so much for your daily health decisions. When we talk about a 62% faster decline in cognitive function, we're not discussing abstract numbers. We're talking about real-world impacts on your ability to think, remember, and perform mental tasks that define your quality of life. The study examined what scientists call global cognition, essentially your brain's overall performance across multiple areas. This includes your memory, how quickly you can recall words, your verbal fluency, and your general thinking speed. Imagine these as the fundamental operating systems of your mind. And the research suggests that artificial sweeteners are like malware, slowly but surely degrading performance. Dr. Sumoto and her team specifically found that daily consumption of low and no-calorie sweeteners was associated with accelerated decline in memory and verbal fluency. This isn't just about occasionally forgetting where you put your keys. We're talking about measurable changes in your brain's processing power that compound over time. The sweeteners under investigation aren't obscure chemicals found in exotic products. Aspartame is in your diet sodas and sugar-free gum. Saccharin sweetens your coffee when you grab those little packets. Acesulfame K is hiding in your protein bars and flavored waters. Erythritol is marketed as a natural alternative in health food stores. Sorbitol and xylitol are common in sugar-free candies and dental products. These substances are everywhere in our modern food environment. What's particularly troubling is that this research builds on an already concerning body of evidence about artificial sweeteners. Previous studies have linked these substances to increased risks of type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, heart problems, depression, and dementia. Some research has even suggested they might damage the gut wall, disrupting the delicate ecosystem of bacteria that's crucial for overall health. The mechanism behind cognitive decline isn't fully understood yet, but scientists have several theories. Artificial sweeteners may disrupt the gut-brain axis, the critical communication pathway between your digestive system and your brain. They might alter neurotransmitter production, affect inflammation pathways, or interfere with glucose metabolism in brain cells. What we do know is that the effect is measurable, consistent, and concerning. The Brazilian study's methodology was particularly rigorous. Participants weren't just asked to remember what they ate. They completed detailed questionnaires covering their entire dietary intake over the previous year. This comprehensive approach helped researchers account for other dietary factors that might influence cognitive function. They also controlled for various demographic and health factors, making their findings more robust and reliable. One of the most significant aspects of this research is its focus on middle-aged adults. While we often think about cognitive decline as primarily affecting the elderly, this study reveals that the damage may be occurring much earlier in life. People in their 40s and 50s, individuals at the peak of their careers and family responsibilities, are showing measurable cognitive impacts from these supposedly harmless sugar substitutes. The international response to these findings has been mixed but telling. Industry groups predictably have pushed back against the conclusions. The British Soft Drinks Association and the International Sweeteners Association both emphasized that observational studies can show correlation, but not causation. They maintain that sweeteners are safe according to health authorities worldwide and point to their role in reducing sugar consumption. But the scientific community is increasingly concerned. When researchers use phrases like long-term harm and accelerated cognitive decline, they're not using hyperbolic language. They're describing measurable, significant changes in brain function that could have profound implications for millions of consumers worldwide.
Part 3. The natural alternatives and lifestyle changes. Now that we understand the scope of the problem, let's focus on solutions. The good news is that you're not stuck with a choice between cognitive decline and giving up sweetness altogether. The researchers behind this groundbreaking study specifically recommend alternatives that can satisfy your sweet tooth without compromising your brain health. Tagatose emerges as the star recommendation from this research. Unlike artificial sweeteners, tagatose is a natural sugar found in small quantities in dairy products and certain fruits. What makes it special is its unique molecular structure. It provides sweetness with significantly fewer calories than regular sugar, and crucially, it doesn't appear to carry the cognitive risks associated with artificial alternatives. But tagatose isn't your only option. The researchers also endorsed time-tested natural sweeteners like honey and pure maple syrup. Yes, these contain natural sugars and calories, but they come packaged with beneficial compounds that artificial sweeteners lack entirely. Honey contains antioxidants, enzymes, and antimicrobial compounds. Pure maple syrup provides minerals like manganese and zinc, plus antioxidants that may have protective effects. The key insight here is that our ancestors consumed sweetness in forms that came with nutritional cofactors, compounds that helped the body process and utilize these sugars more effectively. When we isolate sweetness through artificial chemistry, we lose these protective elements while potentially introducing harmful effects. Let's talk about practical implementation. If you're currently consuming multiple artificially sweetened products daily, the thought of changing everything at once might feel overwhelming. The beauty of this approach is that you can make gradual substitutions that your taste buds will adapt to over time. Start with your beverages. Instead of diet sodas, try sparkling water with a splash of fresh fruit juice or a few drops of liquid stevia, which wasn't associated with cognitive decline in the study. Herbal teas can satisfy your craving for flavored drinks without any sweeteners at all. If you must have sweetened beverages, consider adding a small amount of honey to homemade iced tea or lemonade. For your morning coffee or tea ritual, experiment with natural alternatives. A teaspoon of raw honey or pure maple syrup can provide sweetness while contributing beneficial nutrients. Many people find that as they reduce artificial sweeteners, their taste sensitivity increases, meaning they need less sweetness overall to feel satisfied. When it comes to yogurt, one of the products specifically mentioned in the study, look for plain varieties and add your own sweetness through fresh fruit, a drizzle of honey, or a sprinkle of cinnamon. This approach gives you control over both the type and amount of sweetener while adding fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants from whole foods. The snack category requires special attention. Those sugar-free candies, gums, and mints that seem like harmless treats are often loaded with sorbitol, xylitol, and other sugar alcohols that were specifically implicated in cognitive decline. Consider switching to small amounts of dark chocolate, which contains natural sugars, along with beneficial compounds like flavonoids that may actually support brain health. The transition period is crucial for success. Expect your taste preferences to change over 2 to 4 weeks as your palate adjusts to natural levels of sweetness. Many people report that after this adjustment period, artificially sweetened products taste overwhelmingly artificial and chemical-like. Beyond sweeteners, this research highlights the importance of overall dietary patterns for cognitive health. The Mediterranean diet, rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, fish, and healthy fats, has been consistently associated with better cognitive function and slower age-related mental decline. Consider this sweetener transition as part of a broader shift toward more natural, whole food-based nutrition. Part 4. Taking action and building cognitive resilience. Understanding the science is just the first step. Now let's focus on building a comprehensive strategy to protect and enhance your cognitive health for years to come. The sweetener research we've discussed today is part of a larger picture of brain health that encompasses nutrition, lifestyle, and daily habits that either support or undermine your mental abilities. First, let's address the elephant in the room: industry pushback and conflicting information. When the British Soft Drinks Association and International Sweeteners Association argue that these studies only show correlation, not causation, they're technically correct about the limitations of observational research. However, this is the same argument used for decades to delay action on smoking and health. The accumulating evidence, combined with the biological plausibility of harm, suggests that waiting for perfect causational proof might not be the wisest approach when your brain health is at stake. The principle of precaution becomes relevant here. When facing potential harm with significant consequences, like accelerated cognitive aging, it's reasonable to take protective action, even when the evidence isn't 100% definitive. The beauty of avoiding artificial sweeteners is that the downside risk is minimal, while the potential benefits extend far beyond cognitive protection. Your action plan should start with a comprehensive audit of your current sweetener consumption. For 1 week, keep a detailed food diary, noting every artificially sweetened product you consume. This includes obvious sources like diet sodas and sugar-free gum, but also hidden sources like flavored waters, protein powders, vitamins, medications, and processed foods where sweeteners might be listed further down the ingredient list. Once you have this baseline, prioritize your substitutions based on frequency and quantity. If you're drinking 3 diet sodas daily, that's your highest impact change. If you're chewing sugar-free gum occasionally, that can wait until later in your transition process. This strategic approach prevents overwhelm while maximizing cognitive protection benefits. Consider the broader lifestyle factors that support cognitive health. Regular physical exercise has been shown to promote neuroplasticity and may help counteract some age-related cognitive decline. Aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise weekly, including both cardiovascular exercise and strength training. The increased blood flow and neurochemical changes from exercise create a more resilient brain environment. Sleep quality deserves equal attention. Poor sleep disrupts the brain's ability to clear metabolic waste, including proteins associated with cognitive decline. Establish a consistent sleep schedule, create a cool, dark sleeping environment, and consider limiting screens for at least an hour before bedtime. If you're currently using artificially sweetened products as part of your evening routine, like sugar-free hot chocolate or desserts, this transition provides an opportunity to develop healthier bedtime habits. Stress management becomes crucial because chronic stress hormones can accelerate cognitive aging. Whether through meditation, yoga, time in nature, or other stress reduction techniques, finding effective ways to manage life's pressures supports both immediate mental performance and long-term brain health. Social connection and mental stimulation are equally important. Engaging in challenging mental activities, learning new skills, and maintaining strong social relationships all contribute to cognitive resilience. Consider viewing your sweetener transition as part of a broader commitment to brain-healthy living that encompasses these multiple dimensions.
The timing considerations matter too. The study found that cognitive impacts were primarily observed in people under 60, suggesting that middle-aged adults are in a critical window where dietary choices have maximum impact on future cognitive health. If you're in your 40s or 50s, the decisions you make today about artificial sweeteners could significantly influence your mental sharpness in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. For families with children and teenagers, this research raises important questions about early exposure to artificial sweeteners. While the study focused on adults, the developing brain might be even more vulnerable to potential harm. Consider this an opportunity to establish healthier family eating patterns that prioritize natural sweetness sources and teach young people to appreciate the complex flavors of whole foods. The global implications are staggering. With billions of people worldwide regularly consuming artificially sweetened products, even a modest increase in cognitive decline risk could translate to millions of additional cases of dementia and cognitive impairment. From a public health perspective, this research suggests we may need to reconsider the widespread promotion of artificial sweeteners as healthy alternatives to sugar. Finally, let's talk about hope and empowerment. While this research reveals concerning risks, it also provides you with actionable information to protect your cognitive future. Every artificially sweetened product you replace with a natural alternative is a step toward preserving your mental sharpness. Every whole food choice you make supports not just your brain, but your overall health and vitality. The transition to natural sweeteners isn't just about avoiding harm, it's about rediscovering the complex, satisfying flavors that whole foods provide. Many people report that this shift enhances their overall enjoyment of food and helps them develop a more intuitive relationship with sweetness that serves them for life. Remember, cognitive health is not just about avoiding decline. It's about optimizing your mental performance throughout your life. The brain changes you make today through dietary choices, exercise, sleep, and stress management create the foundation for how sharp, creative, and mentally agile you'll be in the decades to come.
As we wrap up today's eye-opening journey into the hidden costs of artificial sweeteners, I want to leave you with both urgency and hope. The research we've explored today, that comprehensive 8-year study of over 12,000 people showing 62% faster cognitive decline, equivalent to 1.6 years of brain aging, isn't just another health headline to scroll past. It's a wake-up call that demands action. But here's what I want you to remember. Knowledge is power. And you now have the power to make informed choices that could preserve your cognitive abilities for decades to come. Every diet soda you replace with sparkling water and fresh fruit, every artificially sweetened yogurt you swap for plain yogurt with honey, every sugar-free gum you trade for a piece of dark chocolate, these aren't just small changes. They're investments in your future mental sharpness, your career performance, your relationships, and your quality of life. The choice is yours, and it starts today. Your brain is worth more than the temporary convenience of artificial sweetness. Your cognitive future deserves the protection that only natural, whole food choices can provide. Before I close, I must emphasize that the information presented in today's podcast is for educational purposes only and should not replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you have specific health concerns or are managing medical conditions that require dietary modifications, please consult with your healthcare provider before making significant changes to your diet. Every individual's health situation is unique, and what's appropriate for one person may not be suitable for another. Thank you for joining me on this crucial exploration of artificial sweeteners and brain health. If this episode has opened your eyes to new possibilities for protecting your cognitive future, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel and share this information with your family and friends. Your support helps us continue bringing you cutting-edge health research that can transform lives. Leave a comment below sharing your biggest takeaway from today's episode, or tell us about your experience transitioning away from artificial sweeteners. Your stories inspire others and create a community of people committed to natural health and cognitive wellness. Until next time, choose natural, think clearly, and invest in the brilliant future your brain deserves. This has been The Hidden Cost of Sweet. I'm your host, and I'll see you next time with more health insights that matter.